So let's talk about uncommon generosity. Until we learn to share, we will never know what it is to truly care. So, first time, only child in the family? Okay? Yeah, confirmed. Weird side. Now, I started saying you guys will find it hard to share naturally. However, because you didn't have anyone to share with, you then overcompensate by learning how to share, because you realize if you don't share, you can't actually have people around you. You guys end up being overly generous as you grow, which is amazing. But guys who grew up sharing anyway, they're the guys who tend to want to hold on to what they have. Why? Because you don't really have anyway. Do you get the point? So you guys are actually terrible now. These are the good guys over this side who learned over the years to realize if I don't share, I'll actually never really have anybody. So they learn to share because of that. Now, my daughter happens to be an only child as well. She asked me one day, says, "Daddy, why am I an only child?" And so you better ask your mother. Now, I said to her, you know, God has one son. When he wanted to share with us what really caring is all about, he gave the best, just that one thing that he had. And she says, "So you're going to give me away?" I said, "Not yet." But also, when God was done with showing the world that he cared about this world, he's going to give everything to his son. I said, "My God, everything I have is yours." "Wow, everything?" I said, "Yeah, including your car." I'm like, let's talk about the car. Actually, when we truly care, we share. Now, picture this. A guy and a girl, they're taking a walk in the park, and the girl says, "I feel cold." What does the guy do? Oh, yeah, he's answering on behalf of the guys. He says, "I immediately," he doesn't even think about it. He takes off his jacket to share with the lady, right? It's a challenge, though. You guys normally do that when you want to impress a girl. This guy is smart. He says, "That's why I have two." Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Now, the point is this. When you truly want to express with somebody that you really care about them, you share what you have. Interesting principle, but very absent in the church. Very, very absent. Have you noticed? When a stranger walks into our church and they want to be a part of us, we find Bibles and missals and we plant them next to the empty seat next to us so that that person does not sit next to us. Yeah. Interesting. We don't want to share. Why? We don't care. Now, will that person ever come back? Learn to share. Why? That's the best way to say, "I care." Best way. Only way, actually. Now, I tend to outgrow my clothes. They shrink. I don't know why. They just shrink. And my wife cooks. I have to appreciate what she does. So, all the clothes that shrink, somehow they fit my wife perfectly. So, one of the romantic things I do is take my shirts and say, love, try this out. She says, wow. So what is this all about? Look at the example of the church. It says they were breaking bread and sharing meals designed to reinforce their unity. Now, one of the simplest ways in which we tell people we really care is when we eat with them. Tell you something. If you don't care about someone, you don't eat with them. It's as simple as that. It's just that simple. When you don't like somebody, you don't even have time to eat with them. But when you truly want to express that you care about someone, you eat with them. One of my students, I don't know what happened. He walked into the lectures looking like, how do I describe that? Like it just dropped out of Mars is probably the best description. I mean, he just looked completely out of place. So I was teaching. As you can see, I'm not a boring lecturer, am I? I see some of you are just jealous. Now, I was saying all things and trying to get him engaged, and he was just not there. And I was tempted to say a few things to him, and I'd learned over the years that you don't, even if someone is not with you, you don't point fingers at them. Find out what's going on. So eventually I went to him and I said, look, what's going on? You were not with me. You were not engaged. Was I that boring today? He said, no. My dad passed away this morning. I only came to lecture so I could be with people because I didn't want to be alone. Now imagine. If I'd said, you, who do you think you are? And I said all the other things that I could say as a person in authority. What would that student have said about me? I don't care. Now, it didn't matter what the good stuff I had to share with him. Because I didn't care, everything would have been rubbished. Before you say anything to anyone, care. Learn to care first. Okay, is that making sense? So eat together, sharing things in common ensured that all needs were met. All needs are met when we share things in common. Now, our problem today is we want to hang on to what we have. We don't want to share with others what we have. Now, my wife and I started a practice years ago where it started with every 2 years we'd go through our cupboards, see things we were not using anymore so we could give to others that didn't have need, and my goodness. Then we started encouraging others to do the same. So there's a whole bunch of people that are friends with us that do this every time. Yesterday we did a pickup of that. My wife has half a bucket load of clothes that some people we know don't need. Bucket load. Now, some of you have things in your cupboards that have been sitting there, and you probably say, oh, I've had this for 10 years. Well, you know what? It is not going to change. Give it away. Give it away. So you need to get a culture going in young people where they share things that they no longer need with others and bless others. Now, I went to the shelter where people were attacked, put there because of the xenophobic attacks in this country. And I went to find people in those situations, and I was asking, what do you have? What do you need? Some of the things that may not be really significant to you, when you give it to that person, my goodness, you see their eyes light up with joy. Because you just learned to care, and then you learn to share. A guy asked me when we were helping these people out, he called me to the side and he says, I just want to know, are Are you Jesus? I'm like, oh, no. Far from it. Not even close. But you know what? He was beginning to identify us with him. Why? We simply cared. And then another guy came to me and says, no, you have to be a Christian. Why? When we were caring, he realized this is not something everybody and anybody does. So before you even preach the gospel, you get to demonstrate it by caring. This is a critical thing. Embed that culture in your young people, a youth group will grow. Radically will grow. Notice, something else they did is sharing is a magnet through which the community is won over. Oh my goodness, I like that. Most of you exist in a community where your church is now a landmark. What do I mean by that? When people want to get somewhere, they say, no. When you see the church on the corner, you turn right. That's what you are known for. When people need directions, your church is a very good signpost. You know the church on the corner? Yeah, you turn there. In other words, they don't know anything about the people in that church. Why? You've got nothing to be known for. But when you start to care, the people in your community, you start to attract them. Now here's what I hear about some churches. You know that church that runs the soup kitchen. Not the street on the corner, or no. You know that church that they are known by how they care. Or you know those young people who cleaned our streets from that church. Then people want to be a part of that. Or you know that church that cleans that park. What are you known for? What are you known for? What are young people known for in your community? In fact, it's as good as if you do not exist. Oh no, we might as well shut you down. Why? It will make no difference to the community. One of the fastest growing churches on the East Rand, I went and met the pastor and says, how do you get so many people to come to his church? You know, the last time I met with him, he was talking of 9,000 members. He now has 3 services. Because he can't contain the people. He says, no. There were people getting murdered or raped and stuff like that in this community. So our church started a security company. So we started monitoring all the streets in our community. And then the murders stopped. And then the rapes stopped. And then people started asking, now, which security company is that? And they said, it's the church. And what people started doing? They started going to the church. Why? The church cared. 9,000 members as we speak. So the reason I went to meet with him, he says, can you come and teach our young people on how to be relevant in our community? I says, I bet I'm coming. Why? There'll be 3,000 there. I'll come to yours with your 16, of course, but it's more exciting to go to. So let me ask yourself this very, very important question. What can you encourage young people to share with each other in order to foster generosity? Now, don't say to me today, we are poor. No. Even the poor give. The Bible never says, those with much give. No, it's give what you have. So you need to ask yourself, what can I start to ask my young people to share with each other and then with others in the community? And sharing is not necessarily about something they have in a material way. It could be something they can do in the community. Is there a park you could clean? Is there rubbish dumped somewhere that you need to get rid of? Is it a home you could go paint? What can you do as a youth group to say to the community, we're here? And remember, young people have lots of energy. They just need to be directed into a worthy cause. How do you go about identifying those in need without embarrassing them? Very important. It's not to expose a person, but to really, in a good, gentle way, help them so they can be part of this community. Are we connecting? Take a minute to do this. Now imagine if your youth group was constituted by this fourth thing: powerful prayer. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? That your young people actually know how to talk to God. See, until we devote ourselves to prayer, we will never experience the supernatural. We'll stay with the natural, the normal. I asked my daughter the other day, is God answering your prayers? And she says, a lot of them. Man, that's exciting. That's exciting stuff. Because I ask many Christians, so how are you doing? So. Have you been praying? Prayer. How do you expect God to answer prayers you don't pray? How do you expect things to go well when you don't pray? The Sunday service packed. Monday prayer meeting. Hey. Now here's what's more shocking. The only prayers young people pray is for what we're about to receive. And they're only praying that prayer because they are about to receive. Have you tried this in a youth group? Going and says, who would like to pray for us today? Not just opening prayer. Really pray for us. Can you trust your young people to talk to God? Do they know how to do that? Now, as a youth group, when was the last time you prayed about something and you checked that God actually answered? You just pray and move on, right? Nothing happens. Yeah, NGO again. So, do you actually pray when you pray? That's a question. Because why? Well, when I think about it, if you're eating 3 times a day and praying thrice 3 times a day, that's quite a bit of praying. It is. But do you pray when you pray? Or is it, Lord, what you're about to receive, we give you thanks, and we'll move on? And sometimes we can't even wait to finish that prayer because our hand is already digging in, right? Yeah, I see all the guilty ones. Do you pray when you pray? Now, friends, the reason we are not seeing God at work in and through us is because we just don't pray. And our young people don't pray. And we don't pray either. So the natural remains. We just see things that we see every day, and they remain there. But my goodness, what a life and a privilege it is to know how to talk to God. And He hears you, and He answers you. I was praying for something. Some of the team here may know about it. This morning it was something I was really trusting the Lord for, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And then this morning someone called and says, Dan, oh man, I come here excited, Why? Answered prayer. It's exciting. Exciting. You know what? You don't pay for it. You ask, and it's given. What's so difficult about praying? Yeah. Maybe we need to learn how to talk to God and then teach others how to talk to God. That's what we need to do. So I want you to process this. Prayer is the core of ministry, without which any ministry will collapse. Please hear me. That's why you've seen some ministries take off and then take off. No prayer. No prayer. Spurgeon, who was one of well-known preachers, he was asked one day, what's your secret to your success? He took the man who had asked him the question into the basement. It was filled with people who were praying for him while he preached. He has to be successful. I can tell you now, there are people praying for us, for you and me, as we're doing this, as we speak. So you never do this without prayer. Oh, ask the team here. Oh my goodness, the many hurdles we go through and things we have to overcome, the challenges and so forth, and putting something like this together, and some people don't show up and you're wondering what's happening. No, this will be attacked. I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that. So if you're not focused on prayer and what God is doing, you can walk away thinking, oh, this was not a success. No. My goodness, you have no idea. You have no idea. This is going to go further than you think. In fact, some of you are going to look back and say, I was there. Yeah. You cannot afford not to pray. Well, also notice that prayer is a reliance on divine resources for divine assignments. Oh my goodness, I like that. You know what? My mother asked me one day and says, what happened to you? I'm like, what do you mean? He says, no, you were my quiet little baby. What happened to you? Divine resources. Ask my mom, I was the quietest of all her kids. So when did it become like this? God. Why? God takes you beyond what you can do. I'm a shy person naturally. You won't believe it. I am. I'm an introvert. You can do any disc analysis you want on me. That's what comes out. So how come I suddenly become an extrovert beyond what I can do? So I have to ask you today, some of you here, who takes you to where you need to go and what you do? Because divine resources take you beyond what you are capable of. Exciting, isn't it? Oh man, I can't believe that, I do what I do. No, I don't do anything God does. Why? It's about Him. It's about Him. So then prayer is inviting the divine intervention when facing challenges and opposition. Oh man, I love that. I don't want to fight a battle. It belongs to Him in the first place. It's not mine, it's His. So when I'm in trouble, I basically hand my troubles over to He who handles them. You heard about a man in church? There's a verse in the Bible that says, lift your burdens before the Lord. I don't know where he saw that, so he picked up his wife. So, never initiate anything unless it is saturated with prayer. I'm just finishing off a study on a book of 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel, the Davidic narratives. What's fascinating about David compared to Saul is David never did anything unless he asked God. You've said over and over again, he would never do anything. In fact, in chapter 30 of 1 Samuel, he's just come back and found that his wives and everything and everybody else, the whole village had been raided and everyone taken away. And people are about to stone him. And he says he strengthened himself in the Lord. And then he asks God, what do you want me to do? And God says, go after them. And he asks God, will I overtake? So he's not going to go until he knows that he's going to get victory. We just go. And just get in, and do whatever. No. Until he knew that God had granted him victory, he stayed put. What do you want me to do? Never initiate anything unless it is saturated with prayer. Why? Prayer is where you get divine directive. God says, I am with you. Now, most of you are on your own. It's like falling in love. You see a girl and it says, oh man, God showed me. No. Because a few years down the line, a few months down the line, you say, no, it's not working out. Oh, I thought God showed you. Learn to talk to God. Yeah, don't name it and claim it. That doesn't work. You might name it, I'm not sure you could claim it. Sidler Baxter said this, men may spurn our appeals, reject our message, oppose our arguments, despise our persons, but they are helpless against our prayers. Totally helpless against our prayers. Chadwick says that the one concern of the devil is to keep Christians from praying. He fears nothing from prayerless studies, prayerless work, and prayerless religion. He laughs at our turmoil, mocks at our wisdom, but trembles when we pray. You know what? You kneel to conquer. Anyone who kneels before the Lord will stand up to anything. You got to learn that. Now, listen to this. Imagine you teach young people early in their lives to pray. Can you process the kind of life they will live? Where every time they need anything, they know who to talk to. They know exactly what to do about it. Now I find many of our young people are in problems. Why? Nobody to talk to. Don't know what to do. So what do? They do drugs. They smoke. I asked one guy I saw smoking the other day, I says, wow, you smoke? He says, yeah. He was almost wanting to hide the fact that he was smoking. I says, okay, can I ask you a personal question? He says, sure. He says, since you started smoking, what has changed about your life? I'm like, what? He's adding to his problems, not taking away anything. Oh man, teach our young people to pray. And I hope you also pray. Mary says that the man who mobilizes the Christian church to pray will make the greatest contribution to world evangelization in history. Billy Graham was asked one day, says, wow, you are leading so many people to the Lord. He says, no, I never led anyone to the Lord. God does when we plead with him to do that. Learn to pray. How about praying in your community? And say, Lord, touch the young people who are here so they can touch this community for Jesus. Learn to pray. Learn to pray. So let's reflect very quickly. What steps should you take to ensure that prayer is at the focal point of your youth ministry? Can I suggest something you could do? How about young people coming on a Friday night or whenever you meet and you say, tonight is just going to be about talking to God. Nothing else. Let's talk to him. Oh man, I thought young people don't like to pray. No. You think they don't like praying. Get young people to talk to God. They will. They will. One day I was teaching a group of 12, 13-year-olds, and we were sitting in a circle. There were probably 20, 25 of them. And I said to them, well, we're going to spend the next hour in prayer. And they all looked at me, shocked. And then I said, this is how it's going to work. We're just going to go around. Anyone who wants to pray, we just keep going around. Whatever the Lord lays on your heart, let's just keep praying. 1.5 hours later, they were praying. Why? Simply ask them to pray. Most of us say, oh, young people won't do it. No. It's because we think they cannot do it. There can be creative ways in which we can engage young people to pray. Another thing we need to reflect on is, how do you plan to get young people to pray as often as possible? Somewhere in the Bible it says, pray without. So how do you get young people to do that? I find then that when I drive, I have to pray, right? There are crazy people around. That if I don't pray, I'm going to lose it. You know what I discovered the other day? It was shocking to discover this. Until Jesus Christ comes, there will be taxi drivers in Johannesburg. So, I can pray all I want. They will be there. Because my prayer was, Lord, remove them. And God says, no, change your attitude. So I have to pray. But you know what's worse than taxi drivers are so-called normal drivers. Because the taxi drivers, I kind of expect him to behave the way he does. It's the guy I don't expect to. I need to pray wherever I am. My goodness, you need to pray. Because by the time you get to work or to school or to college or to university, you've lost it. We need to pray wherever we are. Take a minute and answer those two questions.